Yo guys, what's up? My name is Chris. Welcome to the channel. Good to have you here. And today we're going to talk about not a question, but a topic that I was thinking about it. I don't talk about it every day, but we talk about it pretty often. And the interesting part about it is that topic is the number one rule of business growth and success. The number one rule of business growth and success. And I find myself talking about this often with other people who understand this concept and have a lot of growth and success in business. Not necessarily people asking how to find a business success and growth from it, right? So this topic is talked about in a lot of different perspectives. And many overlook the importance of complete ownership of everything in business. Why? Because it seems simple and there's a lot of inner work and self-awareness that's needed. Let's get into the show. Complete ownership, right? Complete ownership is accepting that everything that happens within your business or your team is your fault. At least your responsibility. All right. And I'm going to give you some examples of things that are not your fault today as an owner, as a leader. All right. We're going to talk about that. However, before we talk about that, complete ownership is just accepting that everything is your responsibility that comes up. Keep in mind the context of this is the number one rule of business growth and success is complete ownership of everything. Everything. Every problem that happens is your responsibility. Every great thing that happens is your responsibility. However, I would highly recommend sharing the success with your team. Everything. Complete ownership is everything. Everything. Good, bad, sideways, forward, back. Everything. So, often, I discuss this rule of success and growth in business. And the people that I'm discussing this with are annual 6, 7, 8, and 9-figure net earners. And we all talk about this. We all talk about complete ownership. Actually, I was just watching my buddy's content the other day. He's a 7-figure net earner. He said the biggest gap that he closed to go from 6 figures to 7 figures of income annually was complete ownership. Complete ownership. Everything. Everything. And we all talk about it. It doesn't matter how much money you make. We all talk about it. And I educate on it. And I learn on it. And we talk about it. And as the owner, every single thing is your responsibility. That is the key and number one. Everything is your responsibility, just like we said earlier. Everything is the responsibility. Here's where it gets tricky. Understanding the difference of mistakes being made by your personnel and your responsibility for your personnel. What does that mean? If your team is making mistakes, you're responsible for those mistakes. Okay? You're responsible for coaching your team. You're responsible for the mistakes and the byproduct of those mistakes. You're responsible for those mistakes. They're your team. They're your people. They're your mistakes, fundamentally, and your responsibility. You own it. And the quicker that you take this and own the mistakes of your team, not only will the more respect will you gain from your team, but the better that your company will do and the bigger that your bank account will be. When it comes to mistakes, though, okay, within your team and your ownership of them, okay, there's two big pieces to that pie, all right? Performance mistakes and honest mistakes. Let's say let's use an honest mistake. Let's say someone thought that the project was due at 12 p.m., but the project was actually due at 9 a.m. And that person that was late with the project submittal typically does not make that mistake. That's an honest mistake, right? They just made a mistake. And you don't crucify your people for that. You just teach them. All right, what can we do better? Was the communication poor? How can we get better? Right? Just fundamentally. We don't have to go down that slope, but the point is it's an honest mistake. Now, a performance mistake is your employee making the same mistake over and over and over and over and over again. Okay? It is still your responsibility if you haven't coached them to teach them how to quit making that mistake. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, you know what? I've given this person everything I possibly know how to do on how to coach them, on how to get them better, on how for them to move past this mistake, right? If you've gotten to that point and there's nothing more you can do from the person, they continue to make the performance mistake, it's no longer your responsibility because they will likely no longer be within your organization because you have to let them go. Not because they're bad, it's just they can't serve the mission to the capacity that they need to, or you want them to, or their expectations to, is really what it comes down to. Understanding there's a big, big difference between like an honest mistake, which is your responsibility as a leader, and performance mistakes, which can be your responsibility as a leader unless you've done everything for them. If you've done everything for them, then it's no longer your responsibility because it's a complete performance mistake and the individual just can't get past that problem. What a lot of owners don't realize, though, is often the biggest mistakes and the biggest problems within the company are you, are the owner. You know? Shit, even me, right? When you give up and realize that everything is your responsibility, everything completely is your responsibility, all the good, all the bad, and you realize as the owner that you are responsible for the company and you quite possibly could be the biggest problem within the company, that's where the growth comes. That's where the growth comes. That's where the success comes. And that's where the monster impact comes. When you have that internal awareness from that work that you've done to realize that you're the biggest problem within your own company and that you're responsible for everything within your own company, then you can't be fucked with because you just own everything. And when you own everything, the growth is on the other side of it. And it might be slow, it might be fast, it might be moderate pace, depending on the individual, but growth will come. And it will come in plentiful amounts once you have that complete ownership, that everything is your responsibility. So let's recap, okay? The number one rule of business growth and success, complete ownership. 6, 7, 8, 9-figure earners, we all agree, complete ownership. As the owner, everything is your responsibility. Understand the difference between mistakes made and the ones that you're responsible for, okay? To micro that out, performance mistakes and honest mistakes, okay? And remember, often the biggest problem within a company is us, the owners. And when I say often, I mean normally. And when I say normally, I mean pretty much always. It takes a lot of work to get to the point to where you just give up and realize, all right, I'm responsible for all this and I'm the biggest problem. So we're going to work on this. And when you work on it as the owner, that's where the growth and success lies. All right, guys, that's what I got for you today. Extreme ownership. This is not my topic. I did not come up with it. However, I have embodied it, and I promise you when you do, or if you're on your way to doing it, everything will change. If you got something out of this show, guys, all I ask is that you smash the like button, hit subscribe, drop a comment below, or if you want, book a call with me. The link is in the show notes, all right, the show description. It costs you nothing, just your time. We'll have a conversation. And if not, and I don't hear from you, I'll catch you next time.